Alright, to preface this video, whoever made deck building roguelike video games deserves a smooch on the lips from Jesus Christ himself. They deserve a full year membership to Costco every single year. They deserve to have 1,000 little babies with angel wings and those little harp things playing majestic music as they sit inside all day and play on their PC. Putting games like Magic the Gathering and Enter the Gungeon together would be like telling Sonic and SpongeBob SquarePants to have a baby. You would have never thought, but now you know, right? So without further ado, this spongy hedgehog that I'm introducing you today is Crozz Blitz. Crozz Blitz, like I've said before, is a deck building roguelite RPG that is currently in its early access. I was really excited for this release when it initially came out in early access, but honestly I was dissuaded by a lot of the user reviews. When you looked at all the thumbs down on Steam, really the main issue was just it came out with a ton of bugs. It was super unpolished. Despite all of the amazing arts and sprites and content given in the game, it just felt unplayable. Additionally, any progress made in the demo of the game was not transferable to the early access, so I can imagine that ruffled some jimmies. But regardless, I came back to this game literally like this week, and all the recent reviews are mostly positive. They're quite literally busting at the seams, and so I had to give in. I figured, hey, if I'm going to start making YouTube videos, I might as well let this one cook. One thing I love about Crozz Blitz is that it's very easy to understand. It has very much like an Inscription-like combat. If you've ever played that game, you basically have your main phase, and then you have your combat phase, and all cards attack forward. And so it's very self-explanatory. You don't have to overthink it. The roguelite section is also very enjoyable. As you progress through the map, you have to play with different decks and different styles to progress to the next levels. I think that's fun. It kind of pushes you outside your comfort zone a little bit. It makes you play all the cards. Some people may not like that. Some people like to stick to one thing, but variety is really the spice of life, and you know, your favorite deck may be the one that you've never played. So being able to easily access all of those decks and all those cards just by simply playing the game, it's very refreshing, it's very fun, and every time you enter the game, it's very new. As you progress through the levels in the roguelite section, you get a Slay the Spire-like map where you can traverse, you can get rest areas, you can get combat areas, boss areas. You kind of take that risk assessment to see how successful you want your run. But the game has fun mechanics. You get like a main faction, and that has a certain playstyle, and then you have to kind of dabble around in sub-factions, little mercenaries that tag along to your team, that give your pasta with butter a little bit of spice, a little bit of marinara. Sometimes that makes the dish and gives it that al dente kind of feel, and sometimes it completely ruins it, and your run is just messed up, whether you just didn't know how to play the deck or you just got all the wrong cards. And so learning and understanding the co-complexities of what you're playing with is also kind of a fun addition to trying to beat the level as optimally as possible. Originally, I thought this game was going to be a quick bite. I was just going to do a quick little playthrough, you know, nothing too deep. I thought this was like a McDonald's little 5-piece chicken nugget meal. It ended up being a family of 5 kind of meal, you know, I call it a McDussy. The 4 packs of 20 with the 4 medium fries, and then you mix it with all the steak seasonings you want at home because you're really fat and you're single and you have no life. Yeah, Crozz Blitz is a McDussy. It's big, and it takes a ton of time out of your day. This is a game that likes to cuddle. Cuddling is nice, and sometimes when you cuddle, it's very much like quality time, and you enjoy it, you know, but after maybe 6 hours, you can't help but to wonder, maybe that you could be having quality time doing literally anything else. That is Crozz Blitz. It is a lot. If you're someone who likes to play games for extended periods of time, or you want like a huge game to sink your teeth into, I would say buy this McDussy. It is so worth it. But if you're kind of looking for a fling, looking for a 5-piece meal, man, there are tons of other roguelites out there with not too much depth, more time conservative, that I think you would enjoy much more. Now, for those of you who are still here and have subscribed to my channel and are still looking to buy Crozz Blitz, you might be wondering, okay, this game might be worth it for me, at least from what this random guy with 53 subscribers is saying, but is it really worth it from all the reviews? I mean, there's a ton of bad reviews out there. You know, is this going to be worth my time? From a game, is it polished enough, right? Now, does this game deserve the mixed reviews? Does this game seemingly deserve to get bombed? Well, judging by the mostly positive reviews recently, I would say mostly no, kind of yes. Hear me out. The finished product that is this game is like what happens when you turn in your final essay and you forget to use spell check. The effort is there, all the time you spent getting your sources and your references and typing out the essay and not using ChatGPT because we never use ChatGPT, and the nervousness of clicking send and just everything, it's there. But then when you read it, it's really hard to read. Maybe the words aren't spelled right, the sentences are incomplete, there's periods where commas are. And after you play this game for an extended amount of time, you really start to see where all those misspelling errors kind of come into play. This game, it's a little buggy. And from like the reviews at launch, it was really buggy. As someone who's played this probably around 10 hours by now, by the posting of this video, I can tell you that everything at minimum is at least a little laggy. Maybe I'm petty. Maybe I don't enjoy having games have that 0.5 seconds of lag every time a screen comes. But when you play game after game and that 0.5 seconds turns into 1, turns into 5, turns into 20, turns into 5 minutes of your maybe hour run through, it really starts to slow you down in a game that's meant to take your time already. Albeit, I would highly recommend playing the Rougelite before you play the RPG. The Rougelite was really fun, and I felt like time flew a lot faster when I played that. The RPG, it can get pretty rough. I won't lie. Every time you go into like the main menu, you lock up for a good 1 to 2 seconds. Like your whole screen is frozen. Every time I get a freeze that bad, I feel like my game's gonna crash. And it's a little unenjoyable when every time you have to exit a screen to that main map, you're just in an ice cube. You just can't move. Your PC is downloading 80,000 viruses and loading Bitcoin at the same time. It's very frustrating. I'll say the RPG too. It's personally it's a little shallow. The storyline's not that deep. I've played the first challenge with the lion guy. The dialogue is not very deep and it's very slow. You gotta read it yourself. It's kind of like those Netflix comedies that come up that like you just know are gonna be dog meat, but you have to watch the first episode anyways. That's what the dialogue in this RPG feels like. The gameplay's a little different too. In the roguelite, you can have unlimited cards. You can just stack up. You can get really OP, have just the nastiest combos. And in the RPG, your deck limit is 30, and that feels very sad. It feels very slow. It's kind of like, why? It's like I had all this freedom. I could do whatever I wanted to in the roguelite, and now I just can't. I just can't. It just can't happen. I don't know. That really feels like it slows the game down by like having just a pitiful deck size, and then you can't pick the cards you really want. I really think they have a lot of moving elements here. I really feel like it's all there. It's not polished and it doesn't feel smooth. Overall, I'd say this game launched in early access is kind of an uncooked chicken. When the devs pulled this thing out of the demo, out of the cooker, and they put it into early access, they did not check to see if that internal temperature was 165 degrees, and a bunch of people got food poisoning. You know, that was just, everyone got salmonella. They said, this game sucks, I'm done, like, let's just move on with our lives. Like, but realistically, these devs are so easily able to just put this back in the oven. Through their first patch where they got rid of a ton of bugs, it plays so much better, and the feedback, all the recent feedback, 1/7 of all of their reviews came out mostly positive on Steam as soon as they updated it one time. At this point, I would say if this game's a chicken, it's not quite fully cooked, right? Maybe it's 155 degrees, maybe it's just a little lower, like you should probably put it back in the oven, but you're probably not going to get food poisoning from it either. This game will get better. And just by one update, it has changed the whole consumer perspective on what this game is and how awesome it is to play. To me right now, this game is worth $20, but I wouldn't say it's worth a penny more until they really upgrade the roots, the foundation of this game, until they make it a fully cooked chicken, and maybe until they add a little bit more seasoning onto it. I would say right around where a $20 game is going to get you. But either way, if you found this review informative, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to start reviewing indie games, doing playthroughs. I'm a bit of a silly goose, bit of a goofball. We tend to vibe out here. So yeah, hit that subscribe. And if you guys end up buying this game and you enjoy it, give this game a positive review. Let it cook. Let it be that chicken that you want to eat. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Toodles!